Scott Franzke, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Scott, how you doing today?
I'm great. $8 is $8, man.
I'm trying to. Hey, Scott, they don't understand. You know, it's these young cats, man. They don't understand. $8 is a lot when you get a little bit, mature.
Yeah.
You mature in your day.
Well, a lot is, again, a relative situation. But it is $8 you didn't have the day before.
Truthfully, that's all that matters. But Scott, here's a question I have for you. How do you feel the Phillies handled the whole being a Brave situation? Because that's what we were championing the cause yesterday to being a Brave. And obviously the Phillies didn't do that. I mean, where do you stand when it comes to stuff like that? Do you think there's some cause for retaliation, or just go out and play baseball?
Well, I do think if there's a sort of a pattern of that kind of stuff, and I got to be honest, I hadn't seen it a whole lot with the Braves. I know Harper got hit a couple of times the other night in Sacramento. Obviously, I just don't think Strider's got any intent to hit him there. I do think he's trying to pitch inside, and I think, it's okay to pitch inside and make guys wary and let them know you're out there and make them move their feet in the box. And and it's honestly, it's a different game. It just doesn't happen like it used to. You just don't see that kind of stuff. And everybody's mindful of it. Everybody's watching for it. The umpires are watching for it.
Mm-hmm.
Not a situation where I'm just like, bloodthirsty and I need somebody to go down. Because again, I don't think there was a whole lot of intent there. There are other situations where you feel like there is intent, and it's definitely worth an answer back. But I wasn't convinced that was one of those spots.
Scott, I saw the Strider hit by pitch similar to yours. I didn't think he was trying to hit Harper. He did, and I thought he was trying to obviously pitch inside and maybe back him up off the plate. Scott, if it continues, though, if pitchers continue to go up and in on the Phillies, maybe just try to back them off the plate, and we get a few more hit by pitches, do you think at some point the Phillies have to kind of send a message back like, hey, let's be careful here with our guys? Because, unfortunately, those go the wrong way, and then, we lose someone for a month or two or three because someone, breaks a bone.
Sure. Again, I don't know if it's a huge current, say, to face retaliation. I mean, once upon a time, if a pitcher did that, a pitcher was going to wear it, right? He was going to feel it. And I think there was a little more hesitancy then to pick your spots and pick your battles. Now that's not the case. A pitcher doesn't have to stand in the box. Now, pitcher's got to take the rip. He's got to take the suspension, which would be coming. I believe that, and I think that's also a consideration as well. But, I think if it's a pattern and guys are coming inside, I think as much as anything, just to stand up for your teammates and say, all right, well, we can play that game too. I do think there's a time and a place for that kind of thing in the game still. And again, we don't see it as much as we used to. That's for sure, but I do think there's still a time and a place for it.
Scott Franzke with us here, sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Scott, no matter who they're playing and what they're doing and what the other storylines are, the Phillies seem to win series over and over and over. It's 9 out of 10 now. This is really a long, extended run of really good baseball from the Phillies. It's not just that winning streak they had there. It feels like they've been playing well for probably the better part of 6 weeks now. It's a great run, Scott, they're on, and they've been on it for a while.
They have. Obviously, this is coming right on the heels of that series in New York, and I think I think I've said it before, but I think it woke some guys up. It was definitely not a situation where they came out of there and said to themselves, "Oh, well, it's April," right? They came out of there and said, "It's April. We need to get going. These games count. These games all count, and we need to get it together." And I do think they came out of there with a little bit of renewed purpose. And again, I think any team, regardless of how good they are, they face adversity somewhere over the course of the season, and it's how they respond to that. And I think we could all be happy with the fact that they've responded so well to that particular bit of adversity. There's going to be more. They're going to come through it again. They're going to have struggles. They're going to have down weeks or a couple of weeks where things aren't going well, and it's how they respond to those moments that make the difference between a winning team and maybe just an average team or an elite team. It's how they handle those moments of adversity, and I think they've handled that first. I mean, for me, that was the first big, mile marker in the season to go there against your division rivals and get beat up the way they did. And I think it's really encouraging to see the way they've responded since then.
Scott, speaking of that, the team is 36-20. They're playing well, but like any team in a situation like this, everybody has warts. So when we look at this team, and we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, we know that the bullpen needs a little bit of help, and it would be nice to have another bat in that starting lineup. So if you were the GM or you were Topper, and if you had a choice to fix which one, and you think which one needs the fix immediately, which one would that be? Would that be the bullpen, or would that be get another bat in here?
Well, I think if I could only make one move, is that what you're saying?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I think I would shore up the bullpen because I think there are less internal options that have upside.
Mm-hmm.
I think offensively there's guys that have underperformed, and whether you think they will come through or not is a different question. But you do have some guys internally, Bohm, Castellanos, that are on the roster now. Bohm, Castellanos, JT, guys, primarily right-handed bats who haven't hit for power the way they're hoping for. They haven't hit, enough doubles. They haven't hit enough homers. They haven't driven in enough runs. And I think it's those guys that you think, all right, well, if they can bounce back to something closer to their career norms, then we're going to be better off offensively. Now, the flip side of that is I just don't see that with the bullpen guys. I mean, there are some guys who could pitch better, there's no doubt, but are they sort of the elite late inning relievers that you're looking for? So I think if there's a deal to be made and you can go out there and get a guy who is a true elite late inning reliever, that's the move you should probably be focused on.
Scott, I want to ask you about Jordan Romano. You talk about guys that could be better, and he certainly has been better, and the whole bullpen really has been better the month of May. But Romano has been better than he was early in the season. Yet I still don't know what I'm getting with him. Like some nights he goes out there and he looks really sharp and he gets a lot of swings and misses and it looks easy. And then there's days like yesterday where he really, they were close to losing that game. I don't even know if that last strike was actually a strike. He was all over the place yesterday. When you watch Romano, what are you noticing? Certainly been better, but I still feel like I'm not sure which guy I'm getting every time he goes out there.
Yeah, I do think he's still trying to find a little bit more consistency. He was really, really good there for 7 or 8, 9 outings in a row. On the heels of a really bad day against Miami that day at home, which didn't cost him the game ultimately. But then he had the day in Sacramento where I think clearly the mound was an issue and it got in his head and he got all kind of sideways. And then this week, right, he looks unbelievable Tuesday night and he looked like a different guy yesterday. So I think he's still in that mode of searching, trying to find some consistency. I think when his velo is up, when he's not being overused, when his velo's up, I think he's better off. I think we've seen those nights when he performs a little better. But he's a guy that I do think has more in the tank, has more upside there. And they're going to need it because obviously without Alvarado for the foreseeable future, somebody's got to be the guy to lock it down. And Matt Strom has had his struggles. And right now, Romano and Kerkering are the closest things you have to the end of the game guys. Even with some inconsistency there, it's kind of something they're having to live with.
Yeah, it is, and it's working out for now. And the bullpen certainly has been better, and they won that first game really close yesterday with the save by Romano. Scott, we appreciate it as always. Have a great weekend.
As always.
And we'll be listening against the Brewers. Thank you, Scott.
All right, sounds good, guys. Talk to you next week.
There we go. Scott Franzke there on a Franzke Friday.